For a lot of young players, it's going to be harder to believe Metroid wasn't always an FPS game. Over 20 years ago, Metroid Prime was released for the Gamecube, astonishing players that grew up playing Super Metroid. It was enthralling, not only because it looked good, but because the gameplay translated over as well. And I'm incredibly happy to say that continues on with Metroid Prime Remastered on Nintendo Switch, one of my favorite games on the console so far. Metroid Prime Remastered takes place between Metroid on NES and Metroid 2 Return of Samus on the Game Boy or the Nintendo 3DS. Our story opens up with the space bounty hunter Samus intercepting a distress call on a nearby ship. To her surprise, it was from a group of space pirates slaughtered by their own experiments gone wrong. During her investigation, she comes across some familiar foes, damaging her suit in the middle of an evacuation. With only bits of her suit working now, she chases down the cybernetic Ridley to a nearby planet where her investigations lead her through many surprises. Through a combination of cutscenes and tons of environmental storytelling, Metroid Prime Remastered perfectly encapsulates the feeling of exploration. That sense of wonder that has you excited to turn a corner but equally fearful of what lies ahead. It's a marvelous interpretation of the NES series classic now beautifully recreated in this 14-hour 3D adventure. The Metroid series helped popularize the subgenre Metroidvania. So why it's called that? It's a subgenre of action-adventure games focused on non-linear gameplay, focusing more on using new skills to backtrack and explore new parts of previously explored areas. That was its genre-defining characteristic when it was in 2D, and even now in the transition to 3D, it continues to do so. This new iteration of the game presents 4 total control schemes, consisting of motion controls using the Joy-Con, gamepad controls with a new twin-stick feature that wasn't available on the GameCube, the traditional GameCube controls that didn't let you move and aim at the same time, and then a hybrid of the GameCube controls with new gyroscope aiming. The motion control aiming is unfortunately not as good as it was on the Wii version, thanks to the lack of an infrared sensor that was available on the Wii. The twin-stick controls, on the other hand, are absolutely fantastic and are my second favorite way to play alongside the original Wii controls. The GameCube controls, while they might have worked back in the past, don't feel as comfortable now unless you've been consistently playing the GameCube version over the last few years. Nevertheless, the new twin-stick controller mode will for sure be the new fan favorite. Metroid Prime Remastered presents its story from the claustrophobic view inside Samus's helmet. You see the HUD float above as it details your weapons, life vitals, and additional information about the objects around you. Using the built-in scanner, you can turn on switches and get detailed information on enemies and the environment, helping to flesh out the lore of this world. Scanning plays a vital role overall in providing key information. When fighting enemies, scanning may reveal their weak points or describe their method of attack. While exploring old ruins, scanning a wall or an old artifact may reveal key information or details on how to solve future puzzles or additional information regarding the civilizations that used to live here. Sometimes that'll lead you toward discovering a new power-up like a morph ball that lets you reach smaller areas more oriented towards puzzle solving. Other powers like the missile launcher can unlock previously locked away routes that can in return add new lore or even another power-up in return. The gameplay loop further incentivized me to explore every possibility. Outside of exploring the crevices of these ruins, you'll be fighting aliens, space pirates, and monsters. Using the scan information, you can figure out an enemy's weak point or attack pattern and what will ultimately become a puzzle in itself. All of these features further invigorate the idea of being this lone explorer, using your detective skills and intuition to survive by any means necessary. In addition to the main story, you can unlock extra bonus items like a full soundtrack gallery and 3D model viewer not previously in the GameCube release. It was a beautiful addition for longtime fans of the series who can further appreciate the new visuals implemented with this entry. Nintendo is calling this a remaster, but with all the new visual changes, I am more inclined to call it a remake. Unlike the Super Mario 3D All-Stars release, where the games were just upscaled in terms of resolution, Metroid Prime Remastered sees completely new models and textures for just about every nook and cranny. At first, I didn't really notice it, but after booting up the Wii version of Prime Trilogy on my Wii U, the difference was night and day. Samus's character model looks more defined, the environment has been completely redone with better lighting, textures, and geometry for the most part, and more often than not, I began to see models clearly for the first time, only now realizing what things were supposed to look like before this remaster. I will say not every change is for the best. Some alpha effects like snow particles have been toned down a bit. Colors in some areas, like for the doors, have also been heavily altered in this conversion, sometimes not looking entirely better than they used to be, at least in terms of atmospheric design. These instances were rare though, and for the most part, this new take on the series isn't just an improvement, but one of the best looking video games on the Nintendo Switch, period. Metroid Prime Remastered runs at a target 900p 60fps in dock mode, 720p 60fps in handheld mode. The frame rate is mostly locked with only the occasional dip here and there, but nothing too bad to scoff at. Honestly, it's rather impressive how well the visuals look here. Sure, it's a GameCube title at heart, but with all the visual upgrades, the results are impressive. Perhaps it's due to the additional anti-aliasing on top of the already nice looking graphics, but this take on Metroid looks better than expected, and it gets me more excited for Metroid Prime 4. The Metroid series has always had a knack for crafting these goosebump-inducing soundtracks that perfectly capture this ominous sci-fi atmosphere, so integral to the series. You're a lone bounty hunter in the depths of space, fighting off space pirates and exploring the unknown. That feeling of isolation and curiosity in a foreign environment is perfectly captured by the variety of synth patches. Playing this in the middle of the night in a dark room with some great speakers or a nice pair of headphones has never felt so good. Metroid Prime Remastered blew my expectations out of the water. A Metroid Prime Remastered has been rumored for quite a while, and the recent release of the Mario 3D All-Stars collection led me to believe that we'd get one, albeit a simple resolution upgrade. Instead, Metroid Prime Remastered sees major visual improvements, higher resolution textures, better performance, new bonus content, improved controls, and generally is the best way to play the series so far. Some artistic choices aren't as well preserved as I would have hoped, and the motion controls aren't as robust as the Wii iteration thanks to the lack of an infrared sensor. But outside of that, Metroid Prime Remastered is amazing and a must play on the Switch.